This guide has been inspected and approved by Luminous.
Hey guys, this is SunsFan and welcome to the official Dota Cinema Guide to Drow Ranger. If you aren't familiar with this hero, you may want to watch our introduction we did for her at the corresponding link. Drow is an agility carry hero who's known for being able to dish out an insane amount of damage, doing so much earlier than the typical carry. Skill build. As with many heroes, Drow's skill build is dependent on what lane she's going up against. The first skill build is for when you're getting free farm thanks to your supports. In this case, there's no need to take Frost Arrow until much later. Last hitting creeps will be your main priority. Because of this, max your True Shot aura with 1 level of silence and then stats. Stats are invaluable to Drow since she's pretty weak in that department. Get your ultimate at 6, 11, and 16 as it'll increase your damage and attack speed by quite a bit. Leveling your ultimate like this is consistent throughout all the builds. Build number 2 is for if your lane is more even and you're going up against an important melee hero. Leveling Frost Arrow will be required, but the real question is how much do you level it? 1 level of Frost Arrows allows you to harass enemies without aggroing the creeps, but isn't enough to orb walk them. So against melee heroes, it's usually a good idea to max Frost Arrows, with 1 level of Silence and 1 level of True Shot aura. After that, max your True Shot aura second, unless of course you're going up against some powerful casters. Build 3 is similar to the previous except against double range. Getting 1 level of Frost Arrows will suffice for harassment, with the rest going into True Shot aura and 1 level of Silence. All these builds have one thing in common: you finish off Silence last, which typically means maxing it by 14 or 15 at the earliest. Item build. Starting items for Drow would include the usual regeneration along with Slippers of Agility and Iron Branches, which can of course be turned into a magic wand later. For boots, treads are typically the pickup as it synergizes very nicely with Drow. The fact that you can change the stats as needed for a hero who relies on stats so much in general is great. And of course the attack speed in conjunction with the massive agility gain you get with your ultimate makes these boots a no-brainer. Depending on how the game is going, it's pretty typical to see a Drow with a couple Wraith Bands. Aside from that, there are 3 core items you must look to pick up. The order in which you do so is completely dependent on how the game is going. The 3 items are as follows: a BKB, Manta, and Helm of the Dominator. The Manta is picked up for damage and stats. The BKB is gotten to avoid stuns, which of course makes you more survivable in fights, and the Helm is gotten for both the lifesteal and the ability to dominate a creep. The most common path you'll see in games is to get a Yasha, then a BKB, followed by a Helm, and then finally the finished Manta. A quick note about Shadowblade, which is picked up quite consistently on the pub scene. It's not horrible, but using it as an escape mechanism is just lazy. Using it for initiation is okay, but still not as good as the aforementioned build. For luxury items, you could always opt to upgrade your Helm into a Satanic, or if you prefer a more DPS route, then an MKB or Daedalus would be perfect. Butterfly could also be really good depending on what heroes you're going against. Gameplay. As we talked about, harassing in lane is a cinch, since you won't aggro the creeps when using Frost Arrows. Of course, this is assuming you're not auto-casting it. Don't do that, by the way. Drow is one of the worst heroes to go up against in lane because of her insane 625 attack range. This, in combination with a competent support, will make laning a living hell for the opposing team. Ganking with Drow is pretty decent considering her Frost Arrows at level 4 are really hard to get away from, but typically you'll see Drow just farm away, which isn't the worst idea. Drow can get up to such high DPS much earlier than other carries thanks to her ultimate, Marksmanship. Going along with this, whenever you pick up your Helm of the Dominator, be sure to use it to stack Ancients. If you don't feel like doing this, or you're just ready to use your Helm a second time, then pick up a creep that will give you a nice aura. A notable one to pick up is the Giant Wolf, whose auras can be pretty insane. But of course, going back to how Drow can do a lot of damage early, try and take advantage of this. Farming a bit to start the game is great, but don't get into the habit of AFK farming the entire game, because you'll hit your cap way earlier than other heroes. What this means is you're not the hardest carry there is. For teamfights, make good use of her Silence. It does feel kind of random to have a utility skill like this on a carry, but it doesn't mean it's bad. On the contrary, if leveled, the Silence lasts a very long time, which will frustrate casters to no end. The duration, in conjunction with the relatively low cooldown, means you can probably pull it off twice each fight. As far as your Frost Arrows are concerned, you need to practice toggling it on and off when needed, because as you know, the frost effect will not stack with your lifesteal from Helm of the Dominator. In other words, it's not a good idea to just sit there and lifesteal away when you're at full HP. So get into the habit of toggling it when needed, because the slow can be the difference between getting a kill on a fleeing enemy. Friends and foes. Friends of Drow are those that can support you to the point of rapage. Aura stacking is also something to keep in mind and could really help towards the mid to late stages of the game. For early game support, take your pick. We've got Warlock with his Shadow Word, Lion with his overall CC, and Crystal Maiden for her general awesomeness. For aura stacking, the two most notable heroes are Beastmaster with his Inner Beast, which of course gives 40 attack speed, and last but not least, Vengeful Spirit's Vengeance Aura, which gives a 36% base damage increase. Heroes Drow hates to go against are those that can nuke her down early since she's really weak at that stage of the game. Heroes that fit this bill would include Queen of Pain, Venomancer, and Lina. Thanks for watching, guys, and please remember to subscribe to our YouTube. Be sure to check out our brand new Drow t-shirt, which is available now. Also, let us know if you like it and want to see a new one come out with each guide we release. Also, a big thanks to Flawless and Luminous who helped create this guide. You can check them out at their YouTube channels, which are linked in the video description. Also, be sure to check out our website at dotacinema.com. My name is SunsFan, and we love you guys.